If I told you right now that gravity does not exist, would you believe me? I don't mean it's weak. I don't mean it's mysterious. I mean it is literally a fiction, a phantom. When you drop a cup and it shatters on the floor, you think the earth pulled it down. You feel your weight in the chair right now, and you think the earth is sucking you against the seat. You are wrong. Your senses are lying to you. The sensation of weight you feel right now, that is not gravity pulling you. That is the chair pushing you. That is the floor interrupting your natural path. If we remove the floor, if we remove the air, if we remove the chair, you would float. You wouldn't feel any force at all. You would be in a state of perfect blissful equilibrium. So, why do you accelerate? Why does the apple speed up as it heads toward the grass? It's not because of a force. It's because the apple is just trying to walk in a straight line. But the universe itself, the very fabric of reality, is twisted. Today, we are going to perform surgery on your intuition. We are going to delete the concept of force from your brain and replace it with something far more elegant and far more terrifying, geometry. Let's look at the old way of thinking, the Newton way. It's comfortable, right? It's like an invisible rubber band. The Sunday has a rubber band attached to the earth, and it swings it around. The earth has a rubber band attached to you. It implies that space is just a box, a boring, empty, static shoebox. You put stars in the box, you put planets in the box, and they pull on each other across the empty void. But ask yourself this: how does the earth know the Sunday is there? Does the Sunday shout? Does it send a text message? If the Sunday disappeared this instant, how would the earth know to stop orbiting? Newton didn't know. He called it action at a distance. It was a cheat. It was a mathematical hack to make the equations work, but it explained nothing about the mechanism. We need to stop thinking of space as a stage where things happen. We need to start understanding that the stage itself is the actor. The stage is alive. The stage is bending. I want you to perform a micro-experiment with me. I want you to close your eyes. Seriously, do it. Imagine you are a bug, but not just any bug. You are a 2D bug. You have no concept of up or down. You are infinitely flat. You live on a gigantic white surface. You are a scientist bug. You have a ruler, you have a protractor, and you have a stubborn belief in the rules of geometry. You were taught in school that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. You were taught that parallel lines never meet. If you and your friends start walking next to each other, perfectly parallel, and you both walk straight, you will never, ever touch. This is your religion. This is your reality. Now, open your eyes, but keep that bug in your head, because that bug is you. You think you live in a world of straight lines. You think a laser beam travels straight. You think that if you throw a ball, it curves because a force grabbed it. You are suffering from the same blindness as that flat bug. You are trapped in your biology, trying to make sense of a dimension you cannot see. We need to change our definition of straight. In physics, we don't use the word straight casually. We use a fancy word, geodesic. A geodesic is simply the path of least resistance. It's the path an object takes when you leave it alone. If you roll a marble on a flat table, the geodesic is a straight line, easy. But what happens to the definition of straight when the table isn't flat? Let's go back to our bugs, but this time, let's play a trick on them. Let's take their entire universe, their flat sheet of paper, and wrap it around a giant billiard ball, a sphere. Now remember, the bugs are tiny. To them, the ground still looks flat, just like the earth looks flat to you when you look out the window. They can't see the curvature of the sphere because it's too big. So, they go about their business. They draw a triangle, they measure the angles. On a flat paper, the angles add up to 180 degrees. But on this billiard ball, they draw a triangle, and the angles add up to 185 degrees. They panic. Our rulers are broken. They scream. The math is wrong. The math is perfect. The space is curved. This is the container fact. fallacy. You assume that the grid lines of the universe are rigid bars of steel. You assume that a meter is always a meter, and a straight line is always straight relative to some God-like background. But there is no background. There is only the surface. If the surface stretches, the ruler stretches with it. If the surface curves, the straight line curves with it. The bugs cannot step outside the billiard ball to see the curve. They are trapped in the surface. This is the critical leap. You are not in the universe like a cookie in a jar. You are of the universe. You are a ripple in the fabric. If the fabric twists, you twist. You don't notice the twist because you are made of the fabric. The only way to notice it is to watch how things move relative to each other. Now, here is the climax of our little bug drama. This is where gravity is invented. Imagine two bugs, Alice and Bob. They stand on the equator of this giant billiard ball. They are a few feet apart. They both face north. They check their compasses. North is perfectly parallel for both of them. They agree to walk in a straight line, directly north, without turning left or right. They start walking. They trust their straight path. But look what happens from our perspective, the God perspective. We see them climbing the curve of the sphere. As they move toward the North Pole, the geometry of the sphere forces their paths to converge. They aren't turning. They aren't steering. They are putting one foot in front of the other, perfectly straight. But slowly, inevitably, the distance between them shrinks. Eventually, at the North Pole, they crash into each other. Boom! Alice looks at Bob and says, "Hey, you steered into me." Bob says, "No, I walked straight. You steered into me." They are confused. They didn't feel any turning force. They didn't feel a wind pushing them together, yet they collided. So, the bug scientists gather around. They invent a theory. They say there is a mysterious force called bug gravity that pulls us together when we walk north. They write equations for this force. F equals g 1 square meter, y2. It works. It predicts their motion perfectly. But it's a lie. There is no force. There is no bug gravity. There is only the curvature of the sphere. The force is just a geometric illusion caused by projecting a curved reality onto a flat mental map. Now, we have to do the hard part. We have to scale this up. We have to take the billiard ball and replace it with the Earth. And we have to replace the 2D surface with 3D space, plus time. This is where your brain will try to reject the transplant. You see, the apple falling from the tree is exactly like Alice and Bob crashing on the billiard ball. The apple isn't being pulled by the Earth. The Earth has massive mass. Mass tells space-time how to curve. The Earth sits in the fabric of reality, like a bowling ball on a trampoline. It creates a dimple. But wait, an apple is moving slowly. Why does it crash so fast? If space is curved, shouldn't it take a huge distance to see the effect? Yes, if it were just space curving, gravity would be weak. But it's not just space, it's time. You are moving through time at the speed of light right now. Even sitting still, your watch is ticking. You are racing into the future at 299,792,458 meters per second along the time axis. The Earth curves that direction. It tilts the time axis into the space axis. The apple is Alice. The ground is Bob. They are crashing because their straight lines through the future intersect. Let's talk about entropy and the flow of this river. Why can't you turn back? Why is this geometry a one-way street? Because the straight line you are following is a line through time. You cannot stop moving through time. Imagine you are in a car with no brakes, the gas pedal welded to the floor, traveling at maximum speed. That is you in the time dimension. If the road space-time curves left, you will go left. You can't stop. You interpret this swerve as acceleration toward the ground. You feel it as a pull, but it is really just the momentum of your existence, colliding with the geometry of the mass. The reason you feel the force on your butt right now is because the chair is preventing you from following your natural geodesic. The chair is an obstacle. The chair is accelerating you upwards, away from the natural path that leads to the center of the earth. Gravity isn't the force. The normal force of the chair is the only real force acting on you right now. This destroys the concept of simultaneity. If gravity is just curved space-time, then now is a lie too. If the grid lines are bent, then the slice of the universe you call the present moment is jagged. It's not a flat sheet. My now is not your. Now, if we are in different gravitational fields, near a black hole, the curve is so steep that time itself points down, literally. The future is not a time on the clock. The future is a direction in space, towards the singularity. To escape a black hole, you wouldn't just need to move faster than light. You would need to move backwards in time. The geometry becomes a trap not made of walls, but made of the destruction of all other directions. The bugs on the billiard ball can walk south to get away from the pole. But inside the event horizon, all roads, all geodesics, all definitions of straight lead to the center. It is a geometric cul-de-sac. So what does the universe really look like? It's a block, a static block universe. Einstein's theory suggests that the past, present, and future are all equally real, existing in a giant 4D sculpture. The curvature isn't happening as we speak. The curvature is. The Earth's path around the Sunday is a fixed spiral in this block. We are just consciousness sliding along the world, line, experiencing the geometry slice by slice like an MRI scan. The billiard ball doesn't change shape as the bugs walk. The shape is there. The collision at the North Pole was written into the geometry of the sphere before the bugs even started walking. Your fall to the ground was written into the curvature of space-time before you slipped. The path is set. The rails are laid. Does this make you feel claustrophobic? It should. It sounds like determinism. It sounds like you are a puppet on geometric strings. But there is a beauty in it. If gravity is not a force, then you are not being bullied by the universe. You are not being pushed around. You are simply dancing with it. You are following the path of least resistance. You are in a cosmic freefall, and the only time you feel stress, the only time you feel weight, is when you resist that natural path. The force is your resistance to the flow of reality. When you let go, when you jump, for that brief second before you hit the ground, you are weightless. You are purely obeying the geometry. You are, for a moment, one with the curvature. Why is this so hard to understand? Why does my brain scream force when I see the apple fall? Because you are a biological machine evolved to survive on the savannah, not to navigate 4D manifolds. Your brain simplifies data. It creates a user interface. Force is just a desktop icon for space-time curvature. It's a translation hack. It's easier for a monkey to understand the Earth pulls the rock than the mass energy tensor of the Earth distorts the metric of the local space-time. We are trapped in our linguistic and biological limits. We are the bugs on the billiard ball, arguing about why our triangles are broken, unable to lift our heads and see the sphere. So, next time you see a satellite crossing the sky, or you drop your keys, don't think of invisible ropes. Don't think of Newton's rubber bands. Think of the bugs. Think of the billiard ball. Realize that you are living on the surface of a magnificent, invisible shape. The keys didn't fall. The Earth rushed up to meet them because the space between them vanished. Gravity is not a master. It is a map. And you, my friend, are just exploring the terrain. It's not magic. It's just geometry.